there, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Pearls of Wisdom with me, Avandakash, with Nirmal. Today, it's Dixon Technologies, the largest homegrown design-focused solutions company engaged in manufacturing of products, which is in the consumer durables, lighting, and mobile phone market in the country. They have a diversified portfolio, and it includes the likes of consumer durables like LED TVs, home appliances, and washing machines, and lighting products like LED bulbs, all of which we use on a daily basis. Joining in to discuss the outlook in terms of what the growth projections are, how to capitalize on the massive growth in the market, is Saurabh Gupta, the CFO of Dixon Technologies. Saurabh, thank you so much for taking time out and joining in. And I just wanted to talk about the EMS industry, which is the electronic manufacturing services industry at large. Given the huge potential that it has, $300 billion by 26-27, how are you looking to really capitalize on this, especially when it comes to smartphones?
Yeah, so good afternoon. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. So you're absolutely right. I think so. We are sitting on a large opportunity, and we call this as a Y2K moment for us. And we think the numbers that you just mentioned, 300 billion in the next 26, 27. So effectively, yes, today the electronic industry is around $100 billion, out of which the outsourcing EMS industry is potentially somewhere around, say, $25 billion, so 25% market share. And last year, Dixon numbers was around $2.2 billion. So we are broadly 10% of the EMS industry today. Then if you look at the opportunity size in the next 2 to 3 years, 300 billion, and assuming the same number if you attribute to the EMS industry, which is around 25% or so, then clearly we are talking about 70-80 billion kind of an opportunity only on the domestic EMS opportunity side. And definitely Dixon in the last few years, we have been able to take higher share of wallet from customers, have been able to add customers, have added more categories. So we think that of this overall opportunity size of 70-80 million dollars, we should be a large player and we should have a large market share in this overall industry. So overall, we are sitting on a very large opportunity, and some of the verticals like mobile, IT, hardware will significantly contribute to our growth.
Opportunity, particularly with the ramp up of your mobile business, that is going to reflect post the March quarter. What about the other businesses? Have they been at par, or more importantly, when will we see a catch up? Lighting, for example, or consumer electronics, because at least as compared to what the street was anticipating in the quarter gone by, not reflected as much momentum. Will that pick up, and when?
Yeah, so lighting, the industry has gone through a tough time in the last 1.5 years. There has been a big pricing erosion which has happened in the LED bulbs or the indoor lighting category, which includes other patterns and downlighters as well. So pricing erosion to the extent of 35-40%. So, but I think so the worst is behind us right now. And Dixon as a company, we do a large portion of requirements for all the brands. We're getting a mojo back on this particular segment, and we're also getting adding new categories in lighting, which is professional lights like street lights, so that the solutions have been developed and the initial response has been very encouraging. Also, we are working on some export orders, some large RFQs, where we think, yeah, India as a country and also Dixon as a player can definitely play a big role in exports over a period of time. So lighting should, over the next couple of quarters, should start coming back. As far as consumer electronic is concerned, yes, we have a large market share of the out of the total 14 million market in India. We have a capacity of 6.5 million, and we did a volumes of 3 million or so. So those numbers will continue to grow for us. But more than that, we are now significantly investing in backward integration and also doing our own designing solution in TV as a category, and getting into new categories like industrial displays, IFPDs and all, which are of course good on realizations and good on margins as well. So my sense is those verticals will also continue to grow for us. But yeah, the largest piece for a growth will be mobiles, and maybe in a couple of years it will be IT hardware.
Okay, good to know, and nice to say that perhaps the worst when it comes to those segments is now behind. So, will that reflect in your performance in particular? Where is it that we can see your margin picture shaping up? Your EBITDA has risen quite comfortably in the quarter gone by. What projections do you have on the revenue run rate, etc., in light of the optimism that you're sharing?
Yeah, so margin profile, I would really recommend that one should, in our company, should look at the absolute growth in revenues and profitability. and one should look at whether we are able to generate free cash flow post capex, and also whether the ROC profile is improving or not. Because a lot of margin is a function of the mix, depending on which vertical will grow at the fastest or which vertical will contribute maximum to the revenues. So in our case, since revenue, mobile is the largest trigger for our growth, and that will contribute a large portion of our revenues, which is relatively a low gross margin and low EBITDA margin business. So the margin profile for us would be sub 4%, somewhere between 3.9 to 4.1% in the next this year as well as next year. But what one can expect from Dixon is definitely a significant improvement in an ROC profile because of higher set turns in mobile and IT hardware business, and also continue to do a good job on the working capital management. And also, there's a huge amount of focus on even the capital allocation. We think that, in fact, the entire capex will be funded from internal accruals, and we should start generating free cash flow, a decent amount of free cash flow from this financial year.
Okay, so let's then discuss a little bit more about your overall CapEx plans. What is it now that you're chalking out in terms of your CapEx plans for the rest of the year, for the coming year, and what will that really be utilized towards? Will it be PLIs, new categories, display modules? What will be your CapEx plans?
Yeah, so our capex run rate has been broadly in the range of 500 to 550 odd crores for the last couple of years. I think so that should be the going run rate for this financial year as well. Yeah, a large part of the capex will go into the setting up the capacities for the initial 25 million for mobile display, where we have tied up with the largest global company called HKC, which is one of the largest in display manufacturing. So large part of capex will go in that. The second part of the capex, the other large contributor to capex would be our further expansion in mobiles, because we are sitting on a large order book, and we are looking to do a volumes of almost 28, 29 million smartphones, and hopefully this volume number should grow by 30-40% for next financial year. So this would be the larger capexes for us, and also then some capexes on the backward integration of our lighting components in as committed under the PLI. Yeah, so it should be that should be the going run rate of 550, 600 crores, which will be funded from internal accruals, and we should be generating free cash flow this year.
Okay. And you also launched refrigerators. The commercial production has started of that. Give us a sense as to what the order book looks like. If you could break it up for us and walk us through projections as well for your order book.
Yeah, so we have created a large capacity of 1.2 million direct cool on a total market of 10 million in India. We just started the operations in March, and the initial response has been very positive. We have got some large customers on board, and we're clocking very good volumes. This year, hopefully, we should be able to do zero point 0.7 to zero point 0.8 million out of that 1.2 million kind of a capacity. But clearly, we are now the kind of visibility that we have, the kind of order book that the customers are talking to us for next financial year. Clearly, we think we'll be needing to expand that capacity to from 1.2 million to ultimately 1.6, 1.7 million. And also, we think that we'll be getting into other categories of frost-free, side by side, and also into the 100-liter category. So as of now, we are present across 195 to 235 liters. So that looks very promising as a vertical, because there's a big barriers to entry as far as this refrigerator EMS business is concerned.
I wanted to also get a sense from you as to what kind of opportunity you're seeing within the IT hardware segment. It is a pretty strong market size as well in manufacturing, close to 66,000 crore rupees. What kind of an opportunity does that present itself for Dixon?
Yeah, so like in every vertical, whenever we take a call on getting into a new vertical, of course, it should be linked to our core of electronics. But the other important criteria is that that vertical should be over a period of time should be scalable for us to generate that operating leverage, so that we are able to become cost competitive. So we think that IT hardware over a period of time can be a large opportunity. One, as you mentioned, it's a 66,000 crore manufacturing kind of opportunity, which is presently serviced mostly through imports. The government, in order to incentivize domestic manufacturing, has brought about two things. One, they made the PLI 2.0, made it more attractive by increasing the budgetary outlay, also extended to 6 years, increase the average incentive to almost 4.5-5% as compared to 2% in the earlier avatar of the PLI scheme. Also, they have put the whole IT hardware, because of large imports, under the restricted category, which is presently extended to October this year. And hopefully from there onwards, I think so we see that more and more domestic manufacturing should happen. A lot of global brands are talking to us, and there has been a big nudge by the government to those brands. We have already closed contracts with Lenovo and Acer, and some of the other large global brands. Also, we are in final discussions of closure, and hopefully for them, we should start manufacturing by next financial year.
Good to know. And what about, you spoke about, of course, this pact that you have with HKC Corp and the JV. And, you guys have also indicated that there will be other big global brands as clients over the coming months. What else can we expect by way of tie-ups and these kind of initiatives for Dixon?
Yeah, so so for Dixon's growth from here, it will be lot of them will happen through JVs, partnerships, either with a component supplier. So we think mobile is a large play for us. So we'll continue to get into more and more components on mobile side. So mobile display is the first step in that direction, and and also we are looking for more partnership JVs for other components of mobile phone. We expect that the government will come out with a PLI for components. Either during the budget or after the budget. That's clearly a priority for the government right now because a lot of imports are happening on electronic components on the mobile side. So they want to really localize them. Yes, that is one of that. And clearly, yeah, we will look at even in other categories wherever possible. We'll continue to backward integrate. Wherever possible, we'll continue to do more and more of our own design solutions.
Okay. What is the sense that you're getting when it comes to, the kind of product mix that you're going to work with over the next 3 to 4 years? What is the direction that you're going to take in terms of which will be the key growth driver?
So key growth drivers will be mobiles because clearly the opportunity size is big. It's a $40 billion domestic industry, and then I think so it'll be the IT hardware. Again, it's a $7-8 billion industry. The other categories, yes, there'll be a lot of focus to now go deep into manufacturing to do more validation to get into components, especially in areas where you have a large order book and you have a large market share. The idea is to keep deepening the level of manufacturing there. Fourth, we as a company are also looking to get into PCBA for industrials and automotives and setting up a campus down south in Chennai because that's where the hub is. We see that industry also to grow around 30-35%. There's a lot of opportunity in that industry, the PCBA opportunity. And PCBA is a core, is what we understand well. So now we are looking to get into something like industrials and automotive PCBA as well.
Okay. And what's the expectation or the wish list maybe when it comes to government policies, the PLI schemes for electronic manufacturing industry? What's the wish list looking like?
Yeah, so we have had very deep interactions with the industry with the government over the last couple of months. We have shared our expectation and our wish list with the government. My sense is two things we think are most likely. One, they should come about with a lower taxation for manufacturing companies, like it was earlier, and then it got expired, and I think so this financial year. But we are hopeful that it will get extended because clearly the government focuses on manufacturing and they want to encourage and they want to bring those tax rates in line with what some of the other Asian companies have. There will be a PLI scheme which is expected for electronic components, uh, which of course critical components because if you see a large part of those mobile components, excluding the semiconductor portion, is still imported. Though year on year the localization has happened, the import dependency is coming down, but yeah, still a large part of those components are imported. And we are of course putting up a display plant, and we see that through that PLI, we will also look into get into other components of mobile phones.
Okay. Now, Saurabh, before we wrap it up, I just want to get in a sense from you. You're at the helm of a company that is in a very competitive space, but that is growing at a very rapid pace. Any pearls of wisdom or advice that you'd like to share, with our viewers in terms of your journey, or it could be some valuable lessons that you want to impart and that you'd like to share?
I would say that in life, never take shortcuts. Always try to create moats in your business for a long period of time, and always invest in a good team. Teams, it is the human which makes that they are the biggest assets for the company. You should all continue to invest in good people, incentivize them, motivate them, keep, and that's the biggest thing because that makes a lot of difference between a good company and an average company. And yeah, and overall, yeah, so that is the biggest learning I think so I would want to share here.
I think that's great. And that's a key takeaway for a lot of people. Invest in your people because that really can make the company. Thank you so much. It's been lovely interacting with you, getting a
Thank you
perspective
so
on
much.
Dixon Technologies. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to never miss an update from Nirmal Bang.